My friends, welcome to the Church's Calisthenics podcast. I probably should have done this right when I started the program, but we made it. We're here. We're on day 14. This is day 14 of the sobriety challenge. Obviously, it's not a true sobriety challenge. I'm giving myself one day off a week or 24 hours roughly. I'll go into detail about all of that in just a second. I started this program literally just trying to hold myself accountable to stop smoking weed. I've been addicted to weed since I was 20 years old. Out of that past 11 years, I'm 31 years old now. And out of this past 11 years, the longest I've taken breaks, I took one forced break for a year for career purposes, and then another 6-month break for potential career purposes. And outside of that, I've been mostly stuck to daily use since. And where that has led me is to a life of very repetitive cycles and an inability to move past myself. And so I'm using my training in the Church of Calisthenics as that motivation to become my better self and to really be a trainer. I'm NASM certified personal trainer. I have not used any of those skills in a gym setting, but I have trained people at home. Primarily the person I train right now is my girlfriend Lily. She's in 2 of the videos, the 2 upper body videos we do. And I just want to go into some detail about the Church of Calisthenics and the whole point. Something I really love about calisthenics is I can do them anywhere, whenever I want. No excuses. It's just as long as there's a flat floor or any open space, you can do calisthenics. And that is why I chose the Church of Calisthenics. I consider myself a pretty spiritual person, maybe not as religious as I used to be. I did end up realizing after I chose the name that the Church of Calisthenics is actually a term used to describe Catholics' movement during Mass because there's so many calisthenics in a Catholic Mass. I used to practice Catholicism, so it is a perfect fit for me, but I do not use the church's name in that sense. I don't promote any type of dogma. All I really promote is personal health, personal well-being, and sanity. The reason why I even came to calisthenics was because I quite frankly consider myself pretty crazy as far as a common human, irrational, just completely off the wall. And so using my natural animal instincts with calisthenics to get the better version of myself has only helped me become my best self over the past 5 years. I'm going to go into my story in some detail in just a moment, but I first just wanted to go into a breakdown of the Church of Calisthenics and what the goal is moving forward. Really, all I'm trying to do is just 30 days of this sobriety challenge where I take 6 days off and then I give myself 24 hours to reset. I usually do... Basically, let's just say the week starts on Sunday morning. So I'll start Sunday sober, stay sober all the way until Friday evening. And then I allow myself to smoke from 8 p.m. Friday evening until about 6 p.m. Saturday evening. So about 6 p.m. Saturday, I will finish up my final session and we'll put it away until the following Friday night. I just like having the option to do it multiple days. I don't want to be restricted to just one day. I'm giving myself a lot of fluff here. This is difficult, really difficult for me because I've been chronically smoking, maybe not all day, but I at least would smoke at least once a day for the past 3 years. In 3 years, I've been pretty locked into that schedule. And I've seen a lot of detriments to my brain, my health, my ability to perform, whether it be in the work setting or in the athletic setting or the fitness setting. And so this main goal of all this is to help me become a trainer. And the only way I can become a trainer is by staying sober. And overall, it just makes your life so much better. If you're an addict like me, I know you're telling yourself, I'm getting along, I'm making it, I'm thriving. I hate to tell you it, you're probably not. I really believed I was forever. Obviously, the past 11 years, I've been lying to myself that I have. And even those long stints I've taken off in those 11 years were not rewarding. I was counting down the days until I would go back to my old habits. So I understand this game that we have to play with ourselves to really push through and become the next version of ourselves. And it's really tough to let go of that older version because we love ourselves, and ultimately letting go of some of those vices and those bad habits are the hardest parts of life. All that to say, my goal with the Church of Calisthenics is to try to provide you 6 videos a week. I'm going to try to stick to the schedule of Mondays doing some cardio/legs. Probably going to start with cardio this coming week, so it'll be our first official locked-in week. Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to stay upper body. Those days are for Lily. I've been traditionally training her on Tuesdays and Thursdays upper body because she's been trying to build her upper body over the past 3 to 4 months. So we're going to lock those days in. Wednesday is going to be core, So we're going to get right in the middle of the week. I'm going to focus on your core. All my exercises, since they're calisthenics, are basically core exercises. So even though I have a day that specifies core, I'm attacking your core every day. So don't feel like I'm ever going to miss out on any other part of your body. And then we're going to finish off on Friday with some more core/legs. So I'm going to make sure to alternate, but basically the easy way to see the week is Monday and Friday are going to be legs or core. Tuesday, Thursday are going to be upper body. I'm going to do an alternate version that's with dumbbells and without dumbbells, so you have options. I prefer to definitely work out with dumbbells because they just help you focus on muscles so much more. But I want to offer that other video so that you can also always do upper body without the dumbbells. If you end up not having dumbbells at any point, just do the other video. Obviously, you'll have to lose the stream of videos, but I'm posting these every day just to show you the week-to-week development. It's also kind of to show you Lily's ability. I mean, she's just been taking this seriously for 3 weeks now, and she's doubled her push-ups from 2 push-ups to 4 on the way to 5. But yeah, it's all just living proof that you just put a little effort in at home, you can grow. It doesn't have to go to a gym. You don't have to pay a personal trainer. I guess my goal would be to eventually try to provide this service for some type of small monthly fee that's providing you weekly, daily videos. But right now it's about me figuring out how to become a trainer and how to communicate. Sorry for saying so much. Obviously, this is one of the first times I've ever done a podcast or anything. And I'm just happy you're here. Thank you for taking time to spend time with me. If you ever get annoyed by any of my voices, let me know. But I like to consider myself a funny person. Personally, obviously, it's all in the eyes of the beholder, but I like to have fun. So at any point I weird you out, you can call me out on it and we'll laugh about it. Or if you don't want to laugh about it, you can leave. I'm kidding. That was kind of scary. I'm sorry. Let's just get back to me. My name is Paul. I do work in corporate America for my day job, but my heart and soul is in fitness and training. And all that to say, where my journey really started for this specifically is when I was 20 years old. I started smoking weed, and I have been a pretty regular chronic user ever since. I have had small breaks in between that time. I'm 31 now, so 11 years of experience in this. But overall, I've been pretty constant with it. And even the long breaks I did take, like I said, I was ready to come back to it. A little bit about my injury list, just so you can get an idea of how committed I am and how uncommitted I used to be. I tore my ACL when I was 16. That was one of my first big steps to becoming sedentary because it just vilified all of my feelings about exercise and effort. I tore it playing football, which is the sport I hate most on earth. Not saying football is a bad sport. I do keep up with it still, even as much as I don't enjoy playing it myself. American football is great and fun, and it's just modern day gladiators. But when I played it, I tore my ACL and ended up not being able to have surgery for 6 or 7 months because my growth plate was open to my knee. So long story short, was able to finally quit football at the end of all of it. Ended up being a blessing to me. And then I just got lazier and lazier ever since. I have been I would say a self-proclaimed semi-pro athlete through all of these years, even into my heavier weights, just because I consider myself an athlete. But at the end of the day, my body was suffering, my legs, knees, everything was suffering. Some more injuries to that list. When I was 21, I pulled my shoulder out of place playing inner tube water polo in college. I was a lifeguard. I know it sounds like I'm lying to you, but this is 100% a true story. I was playing goalie and a baseball player was trying to score on me, and he scored on me like 3 or 4 times straight because he can throw a ball really hard in inner tube water polo. You're just throwing a big old soccer ball basically. And so I started to get brave and told him to do it again. And so on the 4th attempt of saving his goal, I perfectly caught his ball in my arm, my right arm, this one specifically, and it just ripped it out like this. And so from that day, I've pulled my arm out of place another 8 times through the years. It usually happens once or twice a year. Usually a funny story is connected. I'll probably make a video just about all the times I pulled my arm out of place. One time I did it because there was a bee on my back. So just to tell you how fun a story can start. But we'll do that video another day. So yeah, I would say my shoulder's my second big injury. Another great reinforcement that I was ready to not be active, and I needed every reason to not be active, and my shoulder was just another reason for me not to. I'm going to take a second and get some water. I'm getting parched. Stay with me here, guys. I'm trying to do this all in under 20 minutes. We'll see. This is the first podcast, so this might be really bad, but this is just part of the game. And then lastly, my last injury that I got from working in a warehouse, I accidentally dropped a barrel of oil on my leg. Classic, barrel of oil falling on your leg. But I developed a blood clot in my right leg. So I got a bad right shoulder and I got a blood clot in my right leg. And that was basically my coffin for my health life. At that point, I started taking blood thinners and then was also just kind of set on that God was going to come kill me or come after me, within the coming years. I was on a very fast track to poor health. This was all at the age of 25. So I've been out of college for 3 years at this point. I'm working at a warehouse as like an inventory control person. I drop a barrel on my leg. Now I have a blood clot. And I didn't react well for those first 2 years after the blood clot. I just let it kind of take my life over, started putting on tons of weight. Basically from the ages of 20 to 26 and a half, my weight fluctuated anywhere from 275 to 310. Usually summers I get down to 275 just because you're sweating so much just going in and out of the house, doing life. And then the winters get back up to about 300, 310. So I've lived most of my life, adult life, I would say, in the 280 to 310 life. I'm just now slowly getting into spending more years on the healthier side. So you can change. It just takes a lot of time. But I wanted to give you a quick background about the steps it took for me to finally change and what I did to change. So in March 2020, I'm living in New York City with one of my best friends. We are working. Obviously, COVID happens, so the city shuts down. I'm a very unhealthy person at this time. I've completely become sedentary. All I do all week is just work, play games. Maybe the most I do is go for a walk just to go get drinks or like go out and party. I'm not doing anything to help my life. So I'm staying in the 280, 290 range. Very unhealthy. Very, very unhealthy. Knees hurt chronically. Back hurts chronically. My life sucked. I was honestly, I would say, closer to being suicidal than not. But, life changes really fast. And obviously I don't feel that way anymore. But that was the person I was. And it was very easy to embrace that given my history and my life and just who I've become. But yeah, so March 2020, lose my job. COVID shuts down the city. I had a temp job, so it wasn't a big deal. Lose the job. Me and my roommate come back home to Memphis, where we were originally from. I'm lucky enough to have one of our mutual close friends to let me stay with him. I lived with him in Memphis before I moved to New York as well. This person's important. His name is Jason. And Jason was such a good friend to me because he was the first step in my personal development, my change. He gave me a habit that I ended up losing anyways, because, we're always really good about losing good habits. But Jason, I moved in with him in March 2020, immediately got COVID as soon as I came back to Memphis. So my first 3 weeks in Memphis, I was just laying in bed, thinking I was about to die. And at the end of 3 weeks, I felt better, but I was at my worst weight or my highest weight in my life, 315 pounds. So this was March 2020 and it was tough. And Jason, luckily did not have the same issues or chronic, eating problems I did, but he also was starting to get stir crazy from being locked in during March and a little bit of April for COVID. So mid-April, I would say even after my 3 weeks of not doing anything, I still continued just to play games and eat all day, just professional video gamer at that point. So luckily I get a job offer, a temp offer to work remote in April. And around that time too, Jason brings up that like, hey, I'm starting to get pretty unhealthy since we're not leaving or doing anything all day. I think we should start taking daily walks. And so from April 2020 until about July 2020, I would just walk about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. We first started, I was so slow because my blood clot was so bad in my right calf that I would take almost 20, 25 minutes to do a mile. And Jason was a saint because he would sit there and wait and let me catch up the whole time. He was easily 70, 80 pounds lighter than me. He was not necessarily chronically overweight. So I give him all the credit for being there and supporting me. And all that to say, if you have anybody in your life that can take this journey on with you, who can embrace it with you, who can walk it with you, just start walking. That's step one. Just start walking. Whatever it is, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day, get out in the sunlight, walk. I don't care how hot, how cold it is. You have jackets, you have hats. I don't care how hot it is. Bring some water, find some shade, take breaks. But walking was the most important part of my journey. And I don't really mention that because obviously I'm created the Church of Calisthenics. Calisthenics are a big part of it, but walking is the minimum. You got to walk. I could do a whole podcast about walking. I probably will eventually. But yeah, so we started walking. And so from April 2020, I was about 315. And then by July 2020, actually August 2020, because I moved back to New York in August 2020. But when I went back to New York in August 2020, I was down to 275. I'm almost certain. So I lost basically 40 pounds over 4 months just walking every day. And I will admit that walking was really tough. Like, it took me a long time to be able to get past my blood clot and just the natural limitations in my calf. So not to say like it's going to be easy, but you got to go do it. And whatever it takes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you got to build on it, do something every day. Obviously I want to act like I kept walking at that point, but I didn't. I really appreciated getting to that point. I was at 275. But that was also just kind of my average weight. So even at this point, with such a healthy point in my development, I still hadn't broken a barrier personally. I kind of gotten like to a next level of my largeness, and then getting down to 275 was like, oh, I'm back to normal. And so when I moved back to New York, it starts getting really cold in September, a little bit in October. And so I would say it was basically like October 1st. It was just really cold one day. And I remember just putting all this effort in to walk like 7 or 8 miles a day, tons of miles. But I'm also to preface all this, I'm also eating very poorly through all of this journey. Fried foods, anything in a microwave, anything in the freezer, a lot of processed foods, tons of processed foods, not a lot of whole foods. So I do have to preface that. I'm doing healthy habits, but I'm not eating healthy. So a lot of it's compounding itself, making my life harder unnecessarily. So October 2020, I'm back in New York. I'm still trying to walk every day, but my weight's plateauing. I'm stuck at 275. From the end of August when I get up there until the beginning of October, I didn't lose a pound. And so I'm freaking out because I've lost all this weight in the summer back in the South in Memphis because it's hot. It's like 98 degrees every day. So as long as I just walk an hour and a half, my metabolism is going to burn through even all my poor eating. I'm back in New York. I can't burn through all the poor eating. And so New York goes back into another lockdown in October, and they tell us, I'm a pretty, at that time, so this would have been October 2020, I'm a pretty good citizen, so I'm not going to push against somebody telling me not to go outside, especially when I love staying inside, and especially when I love watching TV and playing games, whatever it may be. So I stay inside, and I start going crazy because my only interactions are my work interactions. I'm working fully remote at this point for a company in New York, but we don't even go into the office. So the only meetings I have are with like my daily meetings with my boss, maybe a coworker. And staying inside all day, I was losing my mind. And I had some calisthenic videos that I'd done with a friend a long time ago. I'm happy to say they're Shaun T's T25, absolutely magical videos that saved my life. And I give all my credit to Shaun T. He is everything to what I am now, and I cannot be the trainer or the person I am without his influence and directness. All that to say, I'm trying to create a better product, so I'm going to step away from Shaun T for just a second. He is the man. Go follow Shaun. Obviously, I hope to meet him one day. But I have these videos, and I did them for 3 weeks back when I was like 23 years old with my good friend Aben, and I'll eventually bring up Aben because he's the next friend who's such a crucial part of this story. But yeah, all that to say, walking, I couldn't have done without my friend Jason, and I still thank him to this day. And if Jason, you ever see this video, couldn't have done without you, buddy, and I really appreciate it. And we continued that walking even when we started to work together a few years after all this. That's for a later story. Back to the calisthenics. So I'm 275. It's October 1st, first week of October. I've been locked inside for about 3 or 4 days in New York City. Can't get outside. And all I have is these videos. I have the CDs. And I just decide, I need something to help me. I whatever it is, I don't know what it is. These videos are really tough. They are high intensity, 25-minute calisthenic workouts. And so my first 3 to 4 weeks was a pure nightmare of trying to do them, but I had to do something to give myself mental release every day. And this was the closest thing I got to a walk, anything. It was these calisthenic videos. Like I said, the only time I'd ever done these before is I did them about 3 or 4 weeks in a row with my buddy Aben when we were 23 years old, right after college. And even then, I was counting down the days to stop doing the videos. Like once we got to 4 weeks, I think Aben went on a family trip, and I immediately was just like, oh, I'm a little injured. I think I'm good on these. Like, let's never do them again. So I've done these videos all of 4 weeks in my life before this point. So they're pretty scary to me. I know they're tough. But I commit. I committed those 4 weeks, cried a lot, literally would scream at Sean through the TV. Like he would be sitting there, obviously motivating you through the television. Like, come on, work, stay with me. I would just be telling him to go fuck himself. And I mean that directly of like, I was not in a healthy state of mind. And these videos were part of me changing that mentality, changing who I am, coming from a place of light and positivity. That's really, it's not easy to find when you are stuck in the own pit of your mind, the own darkness of your mind. And that's why I give so much credit to Sean. Truly he is the sunlight of what I needed at the time. And I took his light and let it fuel me to be greater. So yeah, the first 4 months were a nightmare. First 4 weeks were a nightmare. But I made it through. It was the hardest thing I ever done, just 4 weeks. And over that 4 weeks, I lost about 20 pounds. So I went from about 275 to 255. And it was just because the workouts are that intense. And so they're 25-minute workouts, but they were so difficult. And I was so out of shape, even with all the walking I've been doing before. Sorry, I'm burping. But they were so intense that even all the poor eating I was doing, I was still able to lose 20 pounds so easy. And that's where the Church of Calisthenics comes in, is that it is a kind of a less intensive version of that, trying to focus on smaller increments. And focus on just doing the most you can and building into that ability. I did it naturally because I had nothing else to do in New York City and I was literally trapped in my apartment. So I would just sit there and pause this video. When I first started doing the videos, they're 25-minute videos, but they would take me almost 2 hours because I would pause at any moment. My heart couldn't keep up with my breath. Whatever wasn't working, pause. Never thought twice about it. It was all about completing. And I always felt amazing at the end of it. So that's why I knew at the end of the day, no matter how bad they made me feel, or how sore I might have got, I never doubted what they were doing for me. I even remember like my second week of doing leg videos, I had to walk around my apartment with a cane. And I was 27 years old with a cane, walking around trying to like go get coffee and get back to work. Now we're here. No, I'm kidding. So the first month was really tough because it was just a lot on my body and my knees. I had really committed to not moving for so many years that the soreness and everything was daunting, and it was a big part of why I'd stayed sedentary and so immobile for so long, was because the pain was just building and building and building. And that was a big part of my life, was in understanding that safety I'd given myself was becoming my trap. It was becoming my prison. And calisthenics saved me from that. All that to say, the months after weren't as much easier. I was still taking huge breaks in between these 25-minute videos. So I would perform the videos. I probably started, like I said, it took me about 2 hours when I started. And then by the time I was getting better at it, even 4 months later, they were still taking me about an hour and a half at the fastest, I would say. So yeah, at least an hour and a half, probably closer to an hour even. So even after doing them for a year, I was able to get down to my lowest weight of about 230. That was that was my lowest weight at that time. So after about a year of doing those exercises, so this would have came back around to September 2021, I was about 230 pounds, but I was very unhealthy still. I was trying to start eating vegetarian and vegan lifestyle. So I was eating just a lot of processed carbs. I was not necessarily eating the highest quality food. So a lot of my gains were more starving myself, or I wouldn't even say gains, but my weight loss was more about starving myself and doing my exercises than it was eating properly. And that's going to come back around in just a second. I really didn't start taking my diet seriously until January 2022. Yeah, January 2022. So up until then, I just ate whatever I wanted. I had a lot of processed foods in the house, ate ice cream all the time. My biggest addiction is ice cream. I literally have to avoid it. Only thing I'll really allow myself to eat nowadays is maybe I'll let myself eat real ice cream once a month, like go out and get it from a store. But for the most part, I make protein ice cream with the Ninja Creamy. It's just hard to beat when it comes to actually making your life better and then not giving you chronic stomach problems or whatever it may be. So I highly recommend that if you're addicted to ice cream like me. Please go get some protein powder and milk, and you can make protein ice cream with the Ninja Creamy. Super easy. They probably already have competitors and stuff now too. So if you want to try something else out differently, all that to say, you're going to have to replace your foods. Replace everything. So for me, obviously, replacing my chronic sedentarism or being lazy, I had to start doing calisthenics, walking. Same thing with the food in January 2022. So, I mean, I did these workouts from October 2020 till January 2022 and never really took my diet seriously. So I would say my weight never really got below 240 regularly. I was still hovering around 240 even through all this, doing daily calisthenics, but my diet was so poor I couldn't really get below 240. Still felt the healthiest I ever did in my life, so I was still progressing, still growing to the person I wanted to be. Started taking my diet seriously that year. Actually, I take that back. I really didn't take it fully seriously until January 2023. 2022, I started doing some meal prep stuff, but overall, I was still eating poorly. I still drank pretty regularly in 2022 as well. Drinking, it's just, I don't have anything against drinking unless obviously you're addicted. Do not touch it. If you have a healthy relationship with drinking, even then, it still is just terrible on your diet and your overall sleep, all your qualities. I consider kind of having the same consequences as weed. It makes you feel good for a little bit, but overall, it is just something else to get addicted to and something else for your body to become dependent on to feel successful. But yeah, so even through January 2022, I still didn't necessarily get my act together. So spent all of basically 2022 into 2023 trying to get my act together on the food side. And finally started cracking down in January 2023 by just meal prepping every week. Every Sunday, I spend about 2.5 hours meal prepping all my food just for Monday through Friday. And I let myself eat whatever I want Saturday and Sunday just because I eat so clean Monday through Friday. And my meal prep is primarily just chicken and ground beef. And then I just take those two protein sources and I either combine them with my favorite carbs, either rice or noodles. And then obviously you got to throw in some fiber. So we got to get some greens in there, asparagus, broccoli. This is just a quick little quip about meal prepping. Don't have to do it if you don't want to, obviously. But it was my secret to getting down to my current weight is about 210. And I did not make those gains to get to this weight until I started meal prepping in January 2023. And then since I think basically through January or through all of 2023, I lost about 25 pounds just from meal prepping. I also coincidentally at the same time started doing the sauna daily, which I'm still doing, addicted to. I love it. Cannot get enough of the sauna. But just 20 minutes a day in the sauna. I started doing that coincidentally when I started meal prepping. And so I think that mixed with the diet change was my biggest development for the weight loss. So 2023 was probably my most successful year health-wise. Still smoking weed through all of this. So still doing all my workouts really high, still going to the sauna super high. I made life hard on myself. And my girlfriend puts in a great quick description. I like to play life on hard mode. And it took me a long time to realize that playing life on hard mode isn't necessarily the best way to live. And I still am that way. I still want to play on hard mode, but I realize a lot of days I don't need to play on hard mode because life's already hard enough. And yeah, I think that's almost a weird inherent part of addiction is just that tolerance, the ability to play life on hard mode, play life with that extra challenge, unnecessary challenge. And I feel for everybody out there that's stuck in that loop, but you can break it. You just have to believe that you are more than that and that you will be more than that. And part of it too is having a plan to get out of it. For me, my plan was this: taking my fitness career seriously, taking my personal training seriously, because I cannot be a great personal trainer high. Just a reality for me. I can be one, but it's not going to be great. It's going to be pretty mediocre. It's going to be pretty awful. And that's why my Saturday videos, I'm going to do them high, just so you can see how unproductive and how frazzled and just like, I don't even know how to describe it, just how like detached I am. So I'm going to do my Saturday workouts with you high. I did one this past Saturday, but I'm running out of storage on my phone, so the video cut off. And so I want to have a complete video for you. I only have 16 minutes of a 30-minute workout, unfortunately. So that's why I didn't present a video this past Saturday. My apologies. I'm going to try to make up for it and make sure we have a video week after week. But yeah, all that to say, this Church of Calisthenics is just a beta test, It's just a way for me to figure out what I want to be as a trainer, what can I offer as a trainer. what I want to come to. And all that to say, I just wanted to give you a quick breakdown of my story and where I've gone, where I'm going. Personally, just because I want you to see it takes a long time to really make these changes. I've worked out well for over 3 years. I worked out calisthenics probably 300, maybe 280 days a year, and still was not necessarily seeing the results because I didn't take my diet seriously. I didn't take my other parts of my life seriously. But all that to say, guys, I really appreciate you coming to check out this video. I'm going to have to learn how to at least strip these 2 videos together so we can finish it out. But the big things I want you to take away from this: get sunlight, walk every day, at least an hour, get your diet right, figuring out your macros, understanding what is best for your body. For me, it's, trying to eat about 80% of my body weight in grams of protein, and then also restricting my carbs and fats to a certain amount to make me productive. You do need carbs. You cannot avoid carbs. I know somebody's out there telling you right now, like, you don't have to eat carbs. That's fine if they want to do that. I'm just telling you, you're not going to be able to have fuel to be successful without carbohydrates. So I recommend getting some carbohydrates, getting some fats. I think they're all great. I think you need it all. I think the main thing is just to focus on being the person you want to be on an athletic level, whatever it may be. Maybe you want to go on walks. Maybe you want to rock climb. Maybe you want to learn how to, surf, snowboard, whatever it may be. Figuring out that kind of person you want to be and understanding the daily effort you're going to have to take to do it. That's why I do these 30-minute workouts. It's just 30 minutes of showing up. That's all it is. 30 minutes. And then you get to go do whatever you want after. Do your drugs, do your poor eating, whatever it may be. As long as you show up, you're making a daily change that's going to affect you forever. Obviously, all these subsequent bigger changes are part of the process. That's another act of self-love, is really allowing yourself to not be engrossed in, your poor habits and letting them get worse. I think it's about trying to tone down the poor habits and then adding on good ones. And it comes back to what I said something early in the video, and this is really, I guess, the big point of all this: replacement. If you're not going to replace something negative in your life with something positive, the negative is always going to take over. For me, it's weed. If there's nothing in front of me for me to embrace and take on, weed's going to take me. And so that's why I have to put things in front of me that make me happier, make me more successful. And I don't mean to say more successful like it means something. I mean more so of like, makes me more fulfilled. Reading a book. I can't read a book well high. Playing a video game. I can't play a video game well high either. As much as I think I can. I've been doing it a long time. I really can't. I can barely remember the game. Same with the book. I can't remember the book. I don't have a visual imagination when I'm on weed. So I would say focus on what your vice is limiting you, and focus on harness those things. Why are they making you sad? Maybe. Why are you not depressed? Why should you be depressed about them? This is all just part of your change. And I really appreciate you coming to join me today. This is not a polished podcast at all. This is just meant to be kind of like a get to know me, get to see a side of me. And this is a glimpse inside my head. I hope you love the videos. I'm going to be more consistent about them. Like I said, I'm going to give you 5 Monday through Friday sober. I'm going to do one with you high on Saturday. And then we're going to try to do something fun on Sundays, like these videos. I'm going to try to do maybe a podcast every week, just kind of going through my life, or maybe a simulation. I might bring on my friends I mentioned that have changed my life for the best. Also wanted to go back and obviously I thanked my friend Jason earlier, but I also want to thank my close friend Aben. Such a major influence on my health, and he's been part of that journey with me, taking on calisthenics and also taking on meal prepping and a better diet. So we're still going through it and still making our way through this journey. And I hope you'll come join me for the Church of Calisthenics journey. But I appreciate you guys. I just want to say in the beginning, I don't know if I was clear. This has nothing to do with religion or Catholicism. I was just making a joke about how that's what the Church of Calisthenics term is originally used for. What we use it for is it's Paul's basically at-home gym for bringing people to sobriety. So send this to somebody that needs to get sober. Send this to somebody that just wants to change. Maybe they're completely sober and they're still kind of a piece of shit. I used to be a piece of shit. I used to be. That's I think you should leave reference. I highly recommend that show too. But that's the whole point of it. See yourself, see the future, and then you can talk about how you used to be a piece of shit. You don't have to be a piece of shit anymore. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me, guys. I will talk to you guys next week.